Hello, Wealth Builders. I am Edward R. Williams, host of Wealth Building for Beginners show and author of the book Wealth Building for Beginners. I'm excited to be your coach today. I believe substantial financial growth is not sustainable without the interior work of personal growth. And personal growth without financial freedom yields limitations. So, with constant growth in both holistic wellness and financial education, it's going to lead to us having extraordinary lives. That's why I started my company, edwardrwilliams.com. It's an online holistic wellness and financial education platform where you get me every week, coaching you and keeping you accountable and driven to build wealth. We could all use positive reinforcement in the world today that aligns us with the aliveness and financial freedom that we deserve. So if you're not a member yet, go ahead and sign up for free at edwardrwilliams.com and join our worldwide community of wealth builders. It's no secret that with skilled guidance, an inspired community, and life-changing tools will bring us closer to building your wealth goals. So let's roll into today's episode. Try to take some notes if you can and share this episode with your family and friends, as it's a responsibility of each of us to share our wealth building solutions throughout our communities. Please also tag or DM me on Instagram at EDWRWilliams and join our community of wealth builders on Instagram so I can say hello. Thank you for your time and let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart. Special to me because I've two parents, both of them, they cannot get it because they waited too late in their lives to even organize a plan. It's called long-term care. All right. And so we're going to learn what is it, why everyone needs a long-term care plan, how it differs from health insurance, and how can you pay for it. So yeah, I mean, you heard me say how special this is to me. And so I'm going to go very deliberately through our conversation today. So let's just start by addressing what is long-term care. It sounds like healthcare, but it's not. The best way I can articulate the difference is if you get sick, you go to the doctor and that's healthcare. But the doctor will treat your illness and then send you home. Now, when the doctor sends you home for maintenance, he's not going to come with you or she's not going to come with you. So who's going to take care of you then? So healthcare is when you get it, you have an illness, you go to the doctor treats that illness. But long-term care is after they send you home, who's going to maintain that? Either in your home or a facility, all right, like a nursing home or something along those lines. So long-term care is just services that help people live independently and safely as possible when they can no longer perform everyday activities on their own. Now, these everyday activities, it's 7 of them, and it's bathing, dressing, eating, transferring on their own, toileting on their own, memory care, and walking. So if you can't do these 7 things, then you need long-term care. Now, it sounds like people who need long-term care are unhealthy people or elderly people, right? Wrong. Everyone needs to have a long-term care plan. I'm gonna give you an example. All right. So let's imagine you have, I don't know, someone who's healthy, physically fit and everything, and they get in the car driving down the beltway, and you have some kid who's texting and driving, runs into the back of you, and bam, throw you out the car. You don't die or whatever. Doctors, they put you back together. But imagine that now you can't toilet on your own. You need someone to help you just lift you off the toilet seat because you can't do that on your own. Who's going to help you do that? Most people, they'll say the name of a loved one. Let me just inconvenience this loved one 5 times a day for the rest of my life, right? Listen, guys, let everybody needs a long-term care plan. And I'm wealth builders, all of our listeners and viewers, we're gonna figure out how to build one because most people don't have it. They would just simply put that burden on a loved one. If they're fortunate enough to even have a loved one. But we're gonna build plans on our own. Everyone needs long-term care. It's our emergency plan. If something happens, where we can't do one of those seven types of activities mentioned, then we need to have a plan. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my dad. So my dad suffers with diabetes. He had an operation on his foot, complications of diabetes, and he started these complications led him to he was vomiting constantly, fatigue, nausea, just can't walk. And so the doctor, he treated the foot, right? He went to the hospital, the doctor treated the foot, but the doctor said, "Hey, listen, Mr. Williams, we're going to let you go home, but now you're going to have to wear a pick line for 6 weeks because the infection has gotten to the bone." So, guys, listen, when infection gets to the bone, it's pretty serious. So, the doctor, they gave him these orders to wear pick line for 6 weeks, and he just has to change it. But at home is only him and mom there. And mom is suffering with her own illnesses that, she's not able to change a pick line. Those who don't know what a pick line is, it's a device that's connected to your central vein that will allow you to receive antibiotics daily. So when the infection gets to your bone, you've got to get antibiotics through this line because a pill is just not strong enough. So my dad's option is not he can't have treatment home. One, because he doesn't have long-term care, and mom can't change the line, so he has to go to a nursing home. Okay, so his only choice is to go to nursing home and try to have Medicare pay for the nursing home. Now, listen, wealth builders, Medicare does not pay for long-term care. All right, Medicare does not pay for long-term care. My dad, he had some other health issues, and so he managed to go to the nursing home and have Medicare pay for those other issues. But here's what happened. So I visit him. I visit him in a nursing home, and this place is run down, overcrowded, poorly managed. I mean, the staff, I see them on their cell phones checking it and just arguing with each other. I mean, this thing is a hot mess. You had shared patient rooms, far from a comfortable environment. And this is where my dad was. And this thing is not a hotel. Listen, guys, not every nursing home is like that. I can tell you, until I moved my dad, I had to literally move him to another establishment. But if he had long-term care, then he would be in his home. He would be in his home, watching his favorite shows, Judge Judy and Maury. He loves to watch those kind of shows. But he would be getting his care in homes because this process takes 2 hours a day, and mom just can't do it. So everybody, you need to have a long-term care plan. Most people think, well, it's not going to happen to me. I don't need long-term care. Or, I'm good. I'm not going to have an accident. I'm gonna throw out some statistics for you so that you'll know a little bit about it. It's estimated that 47% of men over 65 will need long-term care in their lifetime. 58% of women over 65 will need long-term care in their lifetime. So just do that average. That average is about, I don't know, one out of every two people over the age of 65 is going to need long-term care. So if you plan to live over 65, you're probably going to have a 50% chance of needing it. Let's create a plan now. Let's create a plan now so that we don't have to burden our loved ones if we're fortunate enough to have loved ones. So, I'm going to recap wealth builders, let's recap, because our wealth building for beginners community is all about holistic wellness and financial education. So, I'm going to provide three ways to pay for long-term care. All right. I'm going to tell you these three ways to pay for, but in recapping, so long-term care is just services that people need to live independently and safely as possible when they can no longer perform everyday activities. It's probably about a 50% chance in needing it. So we're going to plan for it now. One of the biggest misconceptions is that Medicare is going to cover it. Medicare will not cover long-term care. It's easy to get it confused because Medicare Part A is just hospital insurance. All right. It's going to cover inpatients in a skilled nursing facility or home health care, which are both common settings of long-term care. So it's very easy to get this confused. But here's the major difference. Okay, here's a major difference. I know a lot of people are probably wondering, okay, so a person, they move into a nursing home because they need long-term care, or a home agency sends an aide to their home to help with bathing or any other of those, those seven activities. Why won't Medicare pay? Here's the thing. Medicare pays for care that is skilled. All right. Meaning, if it's skilled, a skilled person has to perform these duties: a registered nurse, a physical therapist, a speech pathologist. If the average person, the average non-medical person can provide this care without training, then it's not skilled. You don't have to be skilled to change a PIC line. This is what Medicare says. You don't have to be skilled to pick someone up off the toilet seat. You don't have to be skilled to help someone walk and walk around their houses and leave. You don't have to be skilled to help someone transfer. So Medicare won't pay for it. So if Medicare is not going to pay for it, how can we pay for long-term care since, you know, 50% of us are going to need it over the age of 65? So it varies from state to state. Some states, long-term care costs are roughly $500 a day. The average long-term care claim is 28 months. Now, this is according to the National Center of Assisted Living. So let's just do the math here. Who has $400,000 just laying around that they put aside for long-term care? Not many people have that, especially if you wait until the last minute to formulate a plan. So let's talk about some ways of paying this, wealth builders. So we can all set up plans on our own. It's three ways of paying for long-term care. All right. The first is you can just simply pay out of pocket if you got it like that. I gave you that $400,000 number in some states, for 28 months. If you got it in your bank account, go ahead and pay for it out of pocket. Now, I hope that you're not pulling from, retirement assets or assets that you use for, you got in place for other avenues in life, whether or not it's your retirement or you're buying a house money or something else. So you can either pay for it out of pocket, which I'm not going to spend much time talking about because that's rare. You can also purchase insurance for it. Okay. And so insurance, there's two different directions you can go. There's a standalone insurance policy where you just pay premiums now in case you need long-term care later. And the insurance company will cover everything based on that long-term care claim. Okay. And I'm not gonna, you can go ahead and contact various different companies who have long-term care standalone policies. You can also have a hybrid policy. A lot of people have these long-term care riders that are built in the life insurance plan. So you would purchase a life insurance plan and you would add a long-term care addition onto it that gives you the privilege of using this your death benefit, right? Accelerating your death benefit so that you can use the long-term care while you're living. These plans are good. But then it takes away, what if you plan on leaving a legacy behind, with your life insurance, and now you got to use this money while you're living. So it depends. I mean, some people like the the hybrid approach because you're going to use that money regardless, right? So if you have a life insurance plan, you're going to either use it while you're the money while you're living, with you can pull out the cash value while you're living if you need the cash. You can pull out a portion of the death benefit if you have a long-term care need, or when you die, you can give the death benefit to your beneficiaries. A lot of people like the hybrid approach. It doesn't do as much as the long term as the standalone policy, but the standalone policy, if you don't use it, you lose it. All right. And that might not be too glamorous to people either. All right. And then you have Medicaid. Now, Medicaid will also cover long-term care. This is by far, the what most people use to cover long-term care. All right. And so Medicaid now be careful because not everybody can qualify for Medicaid. Medicaid is offered to people who don't have the means of paying for long-term care. And so people have to a lot of people try to spend down their assets, to pay to qualify for Medicaid. So it's not always easy to get Medicaid. Okay. So basically, to pay for long-term care, you either need to be really rich and pay for it out of pocket, really poor and pay for it with Medicaid, or middle class, you might want to try insurance and pay for it that way. But either way, you've got to have a situation set up so that you can just make sure that you are prepared for that long-term care need. Because I'm telling you all this because I want no one to be in the shoes of my parents right now who need it and can't get it and didn't plan for it earlier in their lives. All right. They're great people, but now we have the knowledge and we have the education to plan for long-term care. So listen, wealth builders, I hope that you gained something from this podcast. And as always, I'm looking forward to serving you and offering you some great tips so that we can always maintain holistic wellness while we gain financial education.